Good morning. Today in our worship service of renewal and balance, we celebrate the cycle of seasons that hold us all. We humans are made of earth and we know stardust too. Equinoxes are seasonal times we acknowledge the balance of light and dark. Our ceremonies are a reminder that we cannot take without also giving. Otherwise, the world would become unbalanced. Many ancient ceremonies acknowledged our interdependence and gave back to the earth, to the soils that sustained people, doing this symbolically in ritual and in actual agricultural practices. And our ancestors, all of our ancestors, came into relationships with plants and animals and co-evolved in the creation of, and I like to think of this as a two-part word, agriculture. How we grow our food reflects who we are as a culture. Our role was not just to harvest the plants, getting as much as we possibly could. It was to also give back to the earth in thanksgiving for what we took out. For me, overseeing community urban farms for Schenectady Community Ministries, soil is the sacred earth which we tend and which allows us to grow food to feed ourselves and our communities. If we simply see soil as a medium in which to plant, noticing only the plants that grow, we miss something deep and profound and necessary. We miss the processes of decay and all the microorganisms that flourish in soil and create a beautiful matrix of relationships that allow for healthy growth. Soil is perhaps the most complex ecosystem we have. And we have come out of balance in our relationship with these very living soils of a very living earth. We have taken from the soil in ways we have planted, and we have not replenished the soil. We have not given back. Excess tilling, monoculture cropping, chemicals poured on the soil in both organic and conventional industrial agricultural systems have brought us to a place where our agricultural soils, like many things, are in danger of being depleted to a point where we may no longer be able to grow food for our communities. It is the biological activity and the relationships that are created in the soils and with the plants that enable plants and all of us to exist at all. While I wish I could wax poetic on the complex and beautiful relationships that soil scientists have been coming to understand over the past decade, I'll at least note here that we can name less than 10% of the microorganisms in soil, in part because many of the living elements exist and change only in relationship to one another. They cannot be taken apart and analyzed separately. Change in communication between and across microbial species and plants occurs only when a quorum, that's Q-U-O-R-U-M, is reached. There is a minimum number required to make collective decisions and communicate. And soil scientists call this quorum sensing. This might explain why many of us who are growers now refer to ourselves as soil farmers. Perhaps not surprisingly either, I thought of soil as a metaphor for our UU church community during this stewardship season. If we understand soil as biology and the living connections that grow, evolve, and are shaped only in relationship to one another, the same might be said of our UU community. We too are living connections that grow and are shaped only in relationship to one another. Certain functions in healthy soil and community only happen in groups and only happen with a diversity of participants. And there is much that has been grown in Unitarian Universalism over the years, both from the larger movement and our local congregational history. In my current work, I appreciate how much my Unitarian Universalist identity has helped me understand and participate in current societal discussions around right relationship, anti-racism, the role of the individual, and of the interdependent web of life which we are all a part. Healthy communities flourish with diversity. We need new members and we need new ideas. And I continue to grow and learn in these ways, always in a web of relationships. And what might we grow were we to lovingly tend and give back into the soil that is our religious community? There are many roles and functions that are necessary for healthy soil and healthy community. If we want to grow a healthy community here, we each have a role. A healthy community here needs those willing to show up on Sunday for worship and religious education. We need those tending to behind the scenes work that includes the technology, building maintenance, oil for the chalice. We need to fairly compensate our staff and ministers. We need those who can give generously of their financial resources. We need to be sure we are cultivating the soils to continue to nourish this community and the larger world. And stewardship is a time of making this manifest, of committing to something, however small, that helps keep our world in balance.